situation was that his father was killed in an accident in the mid-30s, and so the older boys of the family, there was 11 children, and the older boys went into the military.
Okay.
And then my father was the last of a string of five uncles. I have 5 uncles and my father who were all World War II veterans. And because of this, my grandmother got to christen a submarine, because she had provided 6 soldiers for the war effort. You know, it's really quite an amazing American story.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, but they're all gone now. There's there's not too many World War II veterans left.
No, I know.
Right. The reunions
Tell me.
are getting smaller. Yeah. Have you ever documented that part of your life? Has Jim interviewed you, or have you ever talked about your experience with that or the aftermath?
Oh, no, not too much,
Okay. Well, consider that.
He talked about how he met his wife, and it was washing windows at Strobel's.
Boy, what a memory.
Well, no, I love those stories. Those are stories of the heart. That's really important. And that's what we're going to do.
That was a jewelry store downtown before your time, Strobel's.
Yeah, way before my time.
No, and I was washing windows there, and that's kind of how I met my wife. And
Were you working for the jewelry store? Okay, as opposed to you were working washing windows at a jewelry store.
well, I was washing windows for the jewelry store.
So you didn't work for the jewelry store?
Well, I did later, yes,
Oh, later you did, okay.
and that's when I met.
Was that your entry point to jewelry?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
You're washing windows, and then the next thing you know, that turns into
And
your
you know,
career.
it was just something I needed. My family didn't have a lot of money, and I wanted clothes and stuff, so I got a job washing windows, and it happened to be a jewelry store, and believe it or not, I'm a jeweler.
And your son's a jeweler.
And yes, and
Wow.
so is my granddaughter.
That's a cool story right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have directly to do with the chamber, but if we throw that in somehow, I think that's a great
Well,
American
it's,
story.
you know, the chamber, one of my things was the chamber's been our leader ever since that we opened the store. We wanted to meet other businesses. We wanted to, when we first opened in Crossroads, there was a real amount of honesty between downtown and Crossroads.
Oh.
Neither one the downtown thought that Crossroads didn't belong part of the store or the city, and vice versa, kind of, and so on. And so the chamber helped us get this, finally put it together so that we are part of St. Cloud, and St. Cloud is part of us as far as the chamber people are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done just tons of stuff with the chamber. When I first started, after about 4 or 5 years, my job was to go out and find members in Crossroads to join the chamber, and that was a job. Some of the small stores, it was easily done. The larger stores, it would be, well, I'll have to talk to my superior or get back to my whatever, the roots, whoever decides it, and they never did join. But this is...
Actually, I might have thought just the opposite, that the larger stores would have been able to budget that in more easily, and the smaller stores...
You would think so. Now, Sears did. Sears became active in it. But that was... So anyway, that was a big part of my job for a while, just to try and get in. Then, well, now, of course, we have after hours, for example, like we had just 2 months ago, we had like maybe 350, 375 people, and we serve a dinner at night when they're there with us.
Well, were you at the event at Bitzan Jewelers that night? Were you there? I didn't know you.
This last one, you mean?
Yeah,
No.
Just a couple of months ago.
I was supposed to go there, but I just didn't feel up to it that day, so I didn't get there.
Okay. Well, talk about, this is something that was interesting to me. You decided to go into business. That's a big move in your life, in your professional life, and right away you became a chamber member. Why was that important to you then?
Well, I already knew from downtown, just watching the chamber, how they operated, that if you were going to go someplace, you got to know some of these leaders of other businesses, and that is only one way to find out, is to join it. Join some of their, I was on couple of their different, it's probably in that thing on their different committees and stuff, till I met these people. And because I was just a, you know, nobody really knew who I was when I went out there. And so,
You might have been able to play a special role because you had been downtown. Now you're at Crossroads, so you might have been a crucial player to unify the downtown with Crossroads.
that's exactly the feeling that I had. It couldn't be better than that. And so I feel that today, like anything from the beginning, without the chamber, I'm not quite sure where we'd be.
Well, what about without you at that time? You sort of had to speak a couple of different languages. You had to see it from both sides.
Yes.
How were you able to help in that unification effort of the downtown businesses and the Crossroad businesses?
Well, every opportunity I had, I would tell people that Crossroads, these people, we want to be part of you. And the only reason that Pennies and people moved out there, because they wanted more space. They wanted more parking. It wasn't because they wanted to leave downtown. And that is a very important, because I felt it was a huge move for me, because I was in a jewelry store downtown and I decided that I wanted my own store. And so I was in partnership with Don Strobel. When I left, I owned half of the Strobel store, and Don owned the other half. And I said, "It's your name on there; it's yours, and I'll go out to Crossroads." So I went out. 900 square feet is what I started with in Crossroads, and we got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think about maybe the 8th or 9th year that we were there, Dick joined me as a partner. And so he was going to school. He was going to St. Cloud State, and I said, "You know, Dick, you've got to. You really would like this. You should try this business." And he was already with my son Mike was talking about opening clothing stores, Knight's Chamber. Okay, and so those two were going to go and started doing it. And I talked Dick into, and he finally said, "All right, I'll try it for a year." But he said, "I know I'm not going to like it." Well, after a year, he said, "It's the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life." Mm-hmm. And today, he says, "Without you, I wouldn't be here." In that thing, so.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Of course, it's always rewarding for a parent when their children carry on what they do.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about like how the chamber has impacted the family aspect of your business. You know, the three of you and the whole family being able to work together.
I'm trying to think of how the chamber would impact us in that area. It was they recognized every one of us for the better business and all this kind of thing, and it was the chamber that did this. So it was the families involved, in a sense. I don't really know. Give me a better feel of what you're asking me.
Well, I think that your particular business, it's multi-generational, and it has the extension with the clothing store. So it's, I would think it's fairly rare. There's probably not too many businesses that turn from one generation to the next and have an offshoot, if that's the proper way to describe it. So I'm just looking at how your whole family business, why the chamber was important to you.
I see, okay. All right, well, I think that my son Mike felt the same way when he opened his store, his first Knight's Chamber store. And then he has gone in, I think he had 6 stores or 7 stores, from Fargo to Rochester, you name it. And he's always been in with not as involved with the chamber as we were, though.
Okay.
There's nobody that's more involved than what the jewelry store was, and is. Not only was Dick was a director for a couple of years
Okay.
on the chamber too.
Well, what was it that took you from being a chamber member in your early days with the store to being on the chamber board? How did your involvement build over the time?
I knew some of the people, the leaders that were, there was Bob Mahold and so on, and they kept pushing me in.
That's what I
And then I started going to the different, there's a retail division, and I started going to that. I was really interested in that. And that, the retail division, we tried to include Crossroads and downtown. That was a big deal, big deal. And I think I learned more there than found out that there's no reason we couldn't get together.
What was it that was holding it back? How were you able to overcome that hurdle? And why did the hurdle exist, and how were you able to overcome it?
Well, it existed. I think it was just a feeling, more or less, about everybody going out to Crossroads, and that'll never work. Don't do that. So I guess my feeling was that there's no reason that this can't work. It's obvious. I left downtown where I was a partner and decided to go out there, and I figured that when I was out there, I was also, as far as the jewelry store is concerned now, the lines that we had in that jewelry store, I was able to get out there because at the time I was not part of St. Cloud. Later we became part of St. Cloud. And physically, we could not go from one store to another, still in the same city. But if you were out of the city, I could pick up different lines and so on. And I just, I knew a lot of people downtown when I did go out there. And most of them thought I was crazy, but I can remember one guy from the shoe store, they ran the Schmidt shoe store, and he said, "Boy, that Bitzan kid, he's got to be nuts." But it worked out pretty well.
What was the period of time that happened before you said, okay, I think this is going to work. I think people are coming together. I think we've turned the corner.
I think after we got more members in the retail division and start working there was a Sears, for example, Earl Politica was the manager of there, and he was very active in the downtown association too. And it was stuff like that and then I got Jim Halberstadt, and I signed him up, and he was very active, and pretty soon the whole thing started to evolve where, yes, this isn't so bad. We're not going to hurt you. Whoever knew that, this many years later, that the business, everybody, the retail is there. This is the restaurants and what have you downtown. It's a little different deal than it used to be. And it's a way of what's happened.
So from the time that you became involved with the chamber, around about 66, I think you said you opened your store?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then by 76, you were sort of running the show. You were termed the president?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a fairly quick rise. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I just got so active in it. Tried to do everything I could. When I was on the board of directors for 2 years, and you got to know so many different people at different associations and so on, and it just evolved, I guess. I wasn't that good at just what do I say?
What was it that appealed to you most about it? Why did you get so involved? It must
I
have been
just
some fun.
I just wanted to be at the top if that was possible.
Okay.
And I just to say that, hey, we're part of St. Cloud too, just like you are. So, and that was, and it made us so proud to be able to do that. I just couldn't believe it. Here I am out at Crossroads, and I'm listed as the president of the St. Cloud Chamber. That means something. That means the chamber encompasses a big area. And that was what, at one time, it was just kind of, you know, a downtown thing. And well, that's what started it. It started different businesses, and top hatting helped immensely.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Why was that so important?
Well, every time that we would go in, the first thing is we try and sign the person up to become a member. You open a new business, or you remodel your business or something, and if you haven't been a member, well, you should be one now. And then we'd explain to them how the different chamber members and so on would come to their store. There would be, you get all the different deals that, or meet people that you never knew before. This is the way you grow it. It's just important. It's important for St. Cloud. It's important for everybody, not only our store.
Right, not just for your store.
No.
It was about the community and the business community.
That's it. We just happen to fit in between, that's all. But I really, I loved what I was doing, and I wanted to do that, and I spent a ton of time when I became the president. I spent more time there than I did on my business, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, good thing you had Dick coming up.
That's right.
Yeah. This is a strange metaphor, but I was kind of thinking of, you remember when it was the NFL and then the AFL started, yes. And it's kind of like Crossroads was the new league, and you got to kind of be Joe Namath, maybe. You know, you were from the new league, and you got to rise to the top. You see where I'm headed? You know, because Namath and the Jets won the Super Bowl in the late 60s, and no one thought that could be done. They didn't even think the league would survive.
Oh, I know that, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what's happened, and it's just, now I consider it one. I mean, there's absolutely no question. The chamber means everybody. What do you have in Way Park? You got a chamber, but it's a chamber, even though it isn't the St. Cloud Chamber. You know, and we're involved in the St. Cloud Chamber, even though we're in Way Park. Our address is Way Park right now. And we do more by far with the St. Cloud Chamber than well, we don't do anything with the Way Park Chamber.
Well, and you know, I was reminded when we refer to the chamber that we should call it the St. Cloud Area Chamber of Commerce, and that's probably...
That's what I'm saying. You hit it right on the nose. That's what it means.
Would you consider this to be this idea of the expansion to the area beyond downtown to include Crossroads and even beyond that? Would you see that as your major contribution?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Well, talk a little bit about the feeling that you had when you felt that was coming together, and who was it that helped you? You certainly couldn't do it single-handed.
No, I didn't. I had, I would say, well, first of all, I was president of the association at Crossroads, and that was all the stores out there. And I tried to, at that time already, talking about, let's become part of this feeling that we have here. Let's overcome that feeling that they're two different places. This is one place, it's an area. And I think just by working with that and that all the way through, that was I kept saying, we belong to the chamber. That's it. I didn't even call it St. Cloud. We belong to the chamber. And at that time, it was just so important to belong to it. And that was a feeling that I tried to, give to a lot of people that I had business with or whatever. Anybody that asked about it, the chamber, when I became president, they set a great big plaque, you know, and it had really a fancy, it was something not much better, and not a picture, it was actually, what would you call, almost a sculpture. And we hung that up, and boy, everybody said, "What's that? Who's that?" Anything to advertise it. That it is important.
I'm a word person. I work in radio, and so when I hear you say that you refer to it as the chamber, it almost, that word itself has a unifying meaning to it. It wasn't St. Cloud or not St. Cloud.
No,
It was the chamber.
it was a chamber. And it's that way today.
Mm-hmm. What are you most proud of the time that you were leading the chamber, and how do you see it having evolved from that point?
Okay, well, I guess one of the biggest things of all, and this is kind of a personal thing, but getting to know as many people in the chamber and what they're doing in the chamber has been really important to me. On the retail thing, I think, oh, okay, so what is it that you're doing that we could do together? You know, things like that. Crazy days. I mean, different things that might come up that let's work this together so that we both do this. And even today, they're much better at it now at Crossroads than they were. I mean, they've become part of, actually, I think. Well, definitely chamber. I mean, there's no two ways about that. But certainly part of the area chamber.
You know, I came to St. Cloud in 1981, and the idea that there was a separation, to my frame of reference, I never even thought about it that way before. Because when I came to St. Cloud, Crossroads was a part of St. Cloud. All those businesses were
But
part
you
of
never
St.
lived here.
That's right, yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
It was really, at first when I went out there, were people, I wouldn't go out to Crossroads for all the tea in China. What are you doing? You know, and this is going to hurt downtown, and downtown continued to grow. That didn't hurt it at all. It's just the only thing that I see, and you see that today, is that the retail is out there. It's not downtown anymore. Mm-hmm. The majority of it. There's still some downtown, but you know, losing her burgers, that hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That hurts.
That is a tough one recently.
That's I don't like to see that happen. And for the goodness of the downtown St. Cloud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the community at large.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I have a question that I'll tell you the way it's written. Why do you think your family members became involved with the chamber?
Oh, because I was. It was pretty easy. Dick saw where I was going, and he wanted to be part of that too. So he met as many people as I did. Our whole thing was meeting people to get them into our business, and to make them feel that we're all part of this. And that was our way of getting in. I had no other route that we could take to do this. Chamber is the one that did it for us. I question not at all. That's it.
And does that trickle down to your granddaughter as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about your vision in comparison to hers. You know, as we might see the chamber as part of business, your business and business in St. Cloud. What's the same? What's changed between those two generations?
Well, I think now it's melded more into, you know, something happens. It's just the chamber that it happens. Back when I had to make the chamber do something. Now it is an automatic. She's involved in, oh my gosh, all the different things in downtown St. Cloud and what have you. And it just, you know, part of the roots of it is chamber, but It isn't always mentioned that way, probably, but
Yeah, the chamber is in some ways sort of an invisible hand now. It
in-
seems like it's always been there and always would be there, but you had to make it be there.
Yep. Well, the feeling right now is that you cannot get along without it. That's my feeling. You're absolutely foolish even to think that way. It just because it does so many things for you. Personalized, it makes me feel great to have been a part of it. For my business, it's done a monstrous. My wife and so on, they were so proud of me because this is, I mean, it's just part of it. And when Dick saw what's happening, he wanted to be on the board and be part of it, and he would have been president. He was, except at that time there was so much for him to do in the business that he couldn't take the time that it took because he saw what it took for me. You know, and top hatting was that was for 7 years. You know, and you'd go out and Myron Hall always took the pictures. Was a photographer that went along, and but the paper would always ran it. The ads. These are the things that we are top hatting, and it's always the St. Cloud Chamber top hatted. I think the top hatting was a tremendous way of advertising the chamber. Couldn't have been better.
I'd like to close with some stuff that's on the funnest part. Let's talk about your favorite memories, and that might be people, it might be events. Probably some of it has to do with top hatting. What are a couple of your favorite memories of your time when you were very active with the chamber?
With the chamber, well, I can tell you some of my unfavorite.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't say. You know, I was just scared out of my wits. I was not a public speaker of any type, and I knew I had to do something to get into doing part of this. And we had a fellow by the name of Carlson that would be the same kind of as what's her name, Brendan Teresa does now here, and he just helped me through this thing like you wouldn't believe. Being president, he'd say, "Well, let me write the speech for you." So he would write the speech and I'd memorize it, you know, and I didn't want anybody else to know that. But he was just the most helpful man in the world. He's like Teresa would be. I know that. She does the same thing with the, but
How about your development in that way? You said you didn't really like public speaking. Did you get to a point where you said to yourself, "Well, I can do this"?
I got to a point where it didn't make any difference anymore. Yes.
So it was part of your own personal
But
development.
you always, I'm saying that any public speaker will still have a little bit of rattle when he first goes up there. You're just gonna, you'll start it out with a joke or something to try and get the crowd going, and then get into it. You learn. I learned tons. Believe me. I never went to. I went to high school, but I never went to college. And I did take gemology courses, and I became a certified gemologist. And back in those days, I repaired watches when I first started. First a clock and then watches. And then you had before you could actually go out and sell yourself on that, you had to get a license to repair watches. So you had to go down to the state of Minnesota had a examination for you. So that's how I grew up in the jewelry business. And gradually went from that to gemology, and so
all coming out of washing windows.
And it was really funny when that started. But when that started, washing the windows, this is a good friend of mine. And he was washing the windows next door to the jewelry store. And the jeweler came out and asked him if he'd wash his windows too. And he said no, he wouldn't have time, but he'd see if he could find somebody. So he called me, and I went down there and applied for the job. And it took about 3 weeks, I think. They really had to check me out. And I don't know why, but I'm just kidding there a little bit. But sure, you would in a jewelry store. And then I went down there, and that's how I started. I washed windows first, and then I waited. Pretty soon they wanted me to wait on people, and I started to learn about the product, and I started to watch work, and just
I can see the progression. It's important for a jewelry store to have very clean windows. It's the clarity. That's the whole thing, the sparkle. It's very important to have clean
You're getting
windows.
even deeper in this.
Yeah.
Something about a gem.
Favorite top hatting story?
Oh, gosh, let's see. Where did we go? There was one out on the we had to go back a couple times because there, well, I don't know if it's a favor or not, but Myron Hall didn't show up to take the picture. We go in and we visit with people, and we had coffee, and we waited some more, and the guy became, wherever it was a little bit unhappy with us because, after all, his time is worth something, and so was ours. So then we had to go back again. The second time he was with us, so. But you know, it's fun to go to and see these. Once in a while, they'll ask, "What? We're taking pictures, and you're the leader of your organization, for example," and he'll want somebody else with him, and then somebody else will come and he said, "No, not you. We want somebody else." You know, it's kind of fun to watch and see who they pick to be their favorite or whoever is going to be on the picture with them.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's a favorite or if it's somebody that is next to the line for, or that they think can do the business as good as them, or I don't know. But the biggest thing of all is asking them to join the chamber. And some of them will do it right then, but most of them don't. No, and some of them never do. But I couldn't think of a better way to get new members.
One final question for me, and then if you have anything that we just haven't covered that you would like to mention, someone you might like to thank, or just a statement that you'd like to make about your experience with the chamber. But my final question is, who was your main ally? Who's someone that was very important to your success with the chamber?
Well, it would have been Carlson. Not
Glenn Carlson.
Glenn Carlson.
Yes.
Very, very definitely, without a question. He was the one that, once I got into it, first it was Bob Mahold, who was in the legislature at one time, and he was president, and he's the one that recommended me. And then Glenn Carlson knew who I was. And when I got in, Glenn Carlson he just helped me through the whole thing. Definitely. And there isn't anybody in the world that could promote better than he could. He was just, he was involved in, I think he had 5 meetings every day. He just never, ever let up. And what a nice guy.
I like that. I like that capper at the end. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Tell me about a time. There must have been a time where you were trying to put something through. You and Glenn, you're working in partnership, and you're sitting there scratching your heads. You might have had coffee. You might have had a beer. I'm not sure, but tell me of something that the two of you were able to work out to create the change you wanted.
Well, I did sit down with him, and we did discuss the Crossroads and downtown being one, trying to get together. And so I think at that time we may have come up with some of these different divisions that they have now, like they have the builders division, they have this, this. And I think we sat down and went over so that we figured out maybe we had 4 or 5 new divisions that started at that time. And that was because I worked with him, and he went out and, we found, as in the building industry, we found 3, 4, 5 builders that were interested, and they would go to their fellow builders. And pretty soon we had something going there. And of course, to the retail, really, that's my baby. But there are just lots of things that. Can I see that just a minute? I might have had some things in here that. This is I think there was a thing in here that. A program of action. There's part of it from one of the different things. This is another part of the retail. This is the kind of thing that.
Well, Don, you're a good-looking fellow there. You still are today, but okay.
But this is what the purpose of it, and then we would go through and some of the things that people were asking about. Well, how do we know that this is a good builder? Do you have any recommendations, or do you have any places where you have built? That's just one division, but there were several divisions that we started some of this when we were. The retail expanded immensely on this, from 77 to 78, when I was president.
Uh-huh. And
that was.
Retail expanded dramatically during that time. Mm-hmm. Why was that? What was the key?
It was just all of it. I was pushing so for retail that I went out. Any place I heard that somebody new was coming into St. Cloud, doesn't have to be Crossroads, anywhere. And talk to them and see if they would be interested in joining the chamber. And that's what they did.
And I bet you were very persuasive.
Well, in some cases, a little bit, yes.
Well, but just painting the picture of all the benefits,
Well, that's exactly it. They say, well, why do you want me to join? Well, let me tell you why. Just go through some of the things that have happened to us, to me. I said, you can't get along without it. I'm just so proud of the chamber that went 150 years. Can you imagine?
I was surprised.
I'm probably one of the oldest, or maybe the oldest president of. I don't know.
You could be. You've got to be in contention. Yeah, we'll find out. But I bet that's true. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and wish the chamber a happy 150th birthday? Just say, hi, this is Don Bitzan, and then say what you would want to say as a happy birthday wish.
Okay. Well, I'm Don Bitzan, and I started with the chamber back in 1977, and I couldn't think of a better place to be, and I wish you a very, very good future, and also thank you for the great past.
I'm going to back you up, Don. I'm going to have you do that again because you actually started with the chamber in '66, and you became president in '76.
Well, that's
right?
True.
Okay. Why don't you just do the same thing again, but because that just amplifies how big a part of your life experience it's been.
Okay. Well, back in 1966, our store became a member. That's when we opened our store. I became a member back then, and have pursued that. Became my president back in 1977, and the chamber has just been such a big part of my life that I really believe that you cannot get along without it. And so I congratulate you, the chamber, on 150 years of wonderful service, and hope there will be a lot more. Amen.
I like the amen at the
Ask
end.
for about a 10, 15-second quick one with a wave of the hand.
Okay.
That was too long in a way. I want it to be more of a, we wish you a happy Christmas.
Okay.
No, whatever it is.
Okay.
Start with,
Shorten it.
hi, this is Don Bitzan. I've been with the Chamber since 1966. I was president in 1977. It's been such a great part of my life, and I want to wish the Chamber a happy 150th birthday.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. Well, I'm Don Bitzan, and we opened our store in 1966. I became a member then and became a president in 1977. And it's been a wonderful part of my life, and I really wish you a very, very happy birthday.
150th birthday.
Huh?
150th.
Oh, yeah, 150th birthday. Okay. Oh, you're recording all this.
Yeah, I want you to do it one more time.
Okay.
I'll bet you do.
Take it from the back.
Keep it
Yeah,
short,
that one was a
Don.
fumble, but not bad. You're almost there. And I want you to smile more.
That's right. I want you to look at me because you have a
Yeah,
great smile.
Look at him and smile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine that I am the Chamber of Commerce. I know that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back in 1966.
Hi, this is Don Bitzan.
Oh, I'm Don Bitzan. Back in 1966, we opened our store, and I became a member immediately. And I have been a member ever since, and I became a president in 1977, and have worked with the Chamber a lot. And I wish you a happy 150th birthday.
I think that's the one.
Amen.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the amen part.
Amen.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
I hope it was fun.
It was fun.
You were,
I
you were great.
And come, and like he said, with the advertising, when you had your picture, that was important then for those businesses to see that you were opening. At that time, newspaper was very, very popular. That's your means of advertising. So when you saw your picture in there, you were a new business. Maybe our idea of the local, buying local started from something like that.
this is my second salesman.
Wow, she's good too.
Oh, yeah, she was. That's why I hit record, because I thought that was.
No, I didn't even, he's sneaky that way, so he just recorded.
Well,
Just a little bit.
Don, I need to get to